The rain poured against the lonely highway as dusk crept over the horizon. A small, frightened girl pressed her trembling body against the inside of a locked car door, tears rolling down her cheeks. She held a piece of crumpled paper she had managed to write on, "Help Bikers." Outside the vehicle, rough-looking motorcycle riders stood in the distance, their intimidating presence sending fear through her tiny heart. What she didn't know was that these were not her enemies, they were the last hope she had in the world. Right arrow curving down before you continue. If you believe good people still exist in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us spread real stories of courage and kindness. Red Heart. Her name was Emily, just 6 years old, and her world had been turned upside down only hours earlier. She had been walking home from school with her backpack bouncing lightly on her shoulders, excited to show her mother the smiley sticker her teacher gave her. But in a blink, her life changed. A man with a cold voice and a black vehicle had pulled up, offering her a ride, insisting he knew her mother. Before she could react, she was forced inside, her small voice lost in the roar of the engine as the car sped away from everything she knew. Emily didn't fully understand fear until she found herself trapped, powerless, and alone. The stranger confiscated her backpack, her phone, anything that could help anyone know where she was. She curled up in the back seat, hoping this was just a terrible dream. The man drove for miles, his silence more terrifying than any threat. When the car finally stopped, they were in a remote area, fields stretching endlessly around them. Emily felt panic clawing at her chest as the man stepped out to talk to someone else on the road. Her tiny fingers trembled as she searched the floor of the car for anything to help her. A broken marker. A scrap of paper. And in those seconds, she remembered something her mom always told her, sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places. She wrote the boldest words she could think of, "Help Bikers." She remembered that her dad used to say bikers protect people when no one else will, especially the Hells Angels who cared deeply about children's safety. As the men outside argued, her kidnappers unaware of her desperate attempt, fate intervened. The thunder of engines echoed like a storm coming alive. One motorcycle, then 5, then dozens. A sea of leather jackets and roaring metal wheels approached the scene. It wasn't a coincidence. Emily's disappearance had been reported. But what spread faster than fear was brotherhood. Among those riders was Bear, a towering biker with a hardened look but a heart shaped by loss. Years ago, his own daughter had been taken, and he never got the chance to save her. Not again. Not this time. When he heard about Emily, nothing in the world could have stopped him. The bikers immediately noticed the little girl's terrified face inside the locked car. The message she held up, circled in trembling red marker, was enough. They understood. Bear stepped forward slowly, his deep voice calm, reassuring, promising silently that she was safe now. The kidnappers froze, realizing they were no longer in control of anything happening on that deserted highway. In minutes, the situation changed. Calls were made. Engines grew louder and louder until the entire street was swallowed by chrome and thunder. More than 2,500 Hells Angels members arrived, blocking every possible escape route. Emily's kidnappers soon found themselves surrounded not by danger, but by protectors who refused to let children suffer. Emily's breath caught as Bear opened the car door, his hands gentle despite their strength. She collapsed into his arms, clutching him tightly as he promised her over and over she was going home. The feeling of safety washed through her like warm light after endless darkness. Soon, police sirens wailed in the distance, justice speeding toward them. Emily's kidnappers were handcuffed, their faces pale with fear as they were escorted away. But Emily only focused on the sight ahead, her mom's car pulling onto the road, her mother rushing out, crying, and sweeping her daughter into the tightest embrace a parent could ever give. Words were lost in sobs and relief, but Emily knew this moment would stay with her forever. She looked up at Bear and the crowd of bikers, people she once feared simply because of how they looked, and she realized something powerful. Heroes aren't always the ones wearing uniforms or shining armor. Sometimes, they wear leather and ride roaring machines. Sometimes, they are broken souls using their strength to protect others from the pain they once felt. As the rain slowed and the sky cracked open with streaks of sunset, the bikers stood guard until they were sure Emily had everything she needed, including the chance to smile again. Before they left, Bear knelt beside her and handed her a small angel-shaped patch. "Whenever you feel scared," he told her softly, "remember you've got a whole family out here on the road looking out for you." Emily hugged him, her small arms wrapped tightly around a giant heart. The world can be cold. The world can be cruel. But on that highway, hope won. Kindness won. The love of strangers, outcasts, protectors, warriors of the road, became the reason a mother would tuck her daughter into bed that night with gratitude instead of grief. Sparkles, if this story touched your heart, please hit like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Your engagement helps us bring more hope into the world. Red heart. Pushpin before the ending, comment below. Kindness still exists, speech balloon. Emily's life moved forward. She grew stronger. She grew grateful. And every time she heard the rumble of a motorcycle, she didn't feel fear, she felt safe. Because she knew that somewhere out there, under the wide skies and open highways, 2,500 guardian angels on wheels would always remember the little girl who begged for help, and was saved by the roar of compassion.